Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Thank you for continuing to join us. And I have a very special guest who helps people so much, and I'm looking at his book, which is so important nowadays. It's Brian MANGINES, and he is a state attorney, and I have to just say that, Brian, I welcome you to come to the show this morning. We're all doing this from our own homes, but I picked up your book, Faith with Focus, How to Live Your Life with Passion and Rule It with Reason. It's become more of an important book than you ever probably would have realized, isn't it?
Good morning, Anita. Thank you so much. And yes, you know, there are tough times that we all go through in life, and I was actually doing a will signing with a World War II veteran. My father was a World War II veteran, by the way, served on a destroyer in Okinawa. Tom Brokaw calls the greatest generation. And I had asked him, you know, in all your years, he's 94 years old now, in all your years, have you ever seen or experienced anything like this? And he said no, not even World War II was like what we're facing right now. So at times like this, it's more important to have faith, frankly. If you have nothing else, you have to have faith and you have to have hope. So, yes.
You have to have a good family. Where does he live?
He lives out in Coral Springs, and his son takes care of him. And what a great man. And you know, one of the great honors of being an estate planning attorney is that I get to interact with people like him who've lived a good, long, hard life. And, you know, it's just an honor to be able to help people like him. Now
I know why you're such a nice person. You have this great dad. I don't know if I heard about him before, but maybe I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. My dad actually passed. I thought you were talking about my client. My dad actually passed away in 2016.
Oh, no, I was talking about your father.
Oh, yeah, no. My father, he lived till 91. He passed away, like I said, in 2016. And, yeah, he actually was an attorney. I actually practiced law with him up in Connecticut before I moved to Florida.
Wow. Well, so tell me what's going on now. Of course, you do have a lot of people who you still are talking to. In fact, some of them more so because they're scared and they want to get everything in order, don't they?
That's absolutely true. We've been receiving a lot of calls where clients either want to update their existing estate plan documents or establish new ones that they just never sort of got around to doing. And some people, frankly, are calling us and saying, you know, I actually have time to think about this and to do this. So, yes, we have been getting calls. You know, and in a time like this, it's particularly important to make sure you have your health care directives, meaning a health care power of attorney and a living will in place, because you just never know in life when those documents may become really critical. To be able to have, with a healthcare power of attorney, an agent who could step in and, A, make medical decisions for you if you're unable to make those decisions for yourself, and B, if they're properly drafted, gives the doctors the right to share confidential medical information with the agent, you know, and be able to communicate with the agent as to what's going on. So they're very, very critical documents right now. And then the living will, which is a document that basically directs your attending physician that if you're in end-stage condition and you'd have no more meaningful life, in other words, they'd be keeping you alive just for the sake of keeping you alive, that you can authorize the doctors to, what I like to say, either not put the plug into the wall to begin with or pull the plug. And I can tell you, Anita, that both professionally and from a personal experience, over the years, you know, that living will is very important because at the end of the day, no one really wants to have to make a decision to pull the plug on mom or on dad, for example, and just knowing that your loved one had that document in place and that was their wishes brings great comfort to the family or the friend who may be the healthcare power of attorney.
That's wonderful. So let me ask you, so if people call you and they want to talk with you, you do this, or you do everything over the phone? How are you functioning?
Well, we are doing as much as we can over the phone, which means we do, the initial interviews. We talk to our clients. We draft the documents, but then the actual will signing has to be done in person. So, for example, we had 3 people in on Wednesday because, some people want to wait till this is over and other people don't want to wait. So we observe all social distancing guidelines. We have masks, we have gloves, and we ask people to bring their own pen, and we stay far away from them. We actually did it downstairs in the lobby, in the kitchen area, and that's how we've been operating. And as I mentioned earlier with the gentleman I talked about earlier, we actually will also go to our client sites if that's necessary. If we have to go to them and sign documents outside, which we've done, we'll do that as well.
So let's just jump over to your book for a moment. So people who have not read it, he was featured, of course, as a book of the month a few months ago, and it's called Faith with Focus: How to Live Your Life with Passion and Rule It with Reason. Is there anything in that book, particularly at this, for what we're dealing with now, that we hadn't really covered because of this coronavirus, that you could put your finger on? There's so many good things, the exercises in there and all that, but I mean, I don't know. When you were writing this, you never wrote it thinking that there was going to be this pandemic.
Yeah, well, I actually have had people reach out to me and let me know that they've kind of revisited my book, and that, of course, gives me great comfort. But really, I would say there's a few things that kind of jump out. Number one, again, there's a reason why the title is Faith with Focus, faith being the first word. And again, I know, and my heart goes out to people who either have the COVID-19 and are battling it, or they know someone who has, or are just sheltering in place. And we know how difficult that can be, and especially, if you're on your own and you're elderly, and it's very, very difficult. So just having faith is, to me, the starting point of everything. And then, of course, trying to think mentally, some exercises to keep you sharp. Now, for many of us, a lot of us are improving our habits, right? So, first, Ovid was a Greek poet, and he said, first you make your habits, and then your habits make you. So there was a chapter in my book, and it's called The Plan. And this, for me, is a good time for one to have a little bit of self-reflection, to really think about what it is that they want to pursue in life, what areas they want to grow. I've been, I think you may know, I've run 8 marathons, but I've been running again a lot more, and with my wife Mimi mostly, and I said to her, whoever would have thought that A1A in Boca would be more crowded than Times Square in New York, but that's the case.
Is that right?
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a ton of people out exercising. So there are positive things that come out of all of this, and that to me is what enduring faith is all about. Just speaking for our family, we're all doing a lot more reading again. We're just reading a lot more, and I think it's a good time, Anita, if you have time, and that people can really kind of look at their bucket list and look at the bucket list and maybe cross some things off, or maybe add new things, or if you've never done a bucket list, it's probably a good time to do it. But do it in a way that, you're not just writing that item down, but you're writing that item down with the full intention that you're actually going to do it. So whatever it is, whether you want to write the book or run the marathon, or go to Europe, whatever it is, this is a good time, I think, to really start writing those things down. and then really start thinking about a plan of how you're going to actually pull it off.
It's funny you should say those things, because I don't know what brought this on, but sometimes when I'm waking up in the morning, I'm not quite awake and I'm kind of musing about things, and I looked at things and I said, I've lived in a lot of places in a lot of different houses, and I wrote every single place down from the time that I was a small child. And I don't know if other people have done this, or I was amazed. I actually lived in 17 different homes, places. Isn't that amazing? It's a lot. And I wrote each one down because that would really be a conversation to discuss with my grandchildren, with my friends. I've talked about 3 or 4 people amazed that, oh my gosh, I probably only lived in 4 or 5 places. I have a friend who's never lived anywhere but the one place. 17 places, Brian, and talk about a life, right? Every place was a life.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what? I've not heard that, and I haven't done that for myself, but I think I'll accept that challenge, and I may go back.
Have you lived in a lot of places?
Yeah, I'm not saying 17, but I'm going to say at least 10 or 12 off the top of my head.
Really?
Over the years. Yeah.
Okay.
I lived in Chicago for a year. I grew up in Connecticut. I lived in Chicago for a year. I lived in Boston for a year, back to Connecticut, down to Florida. So I've had a couple, fair amount of moves over my life.
Right.
I don't know about 17. That's a lot. But,
Yeah, and of course in a different home environment in every one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Anita, that probably is one of the things that really makes you, so well-rounded, and your ability to connect with so many people. I think that, we always take something from our past and bring it to our future. And I really think that that's that's an attribute that you've developed, and partly because you've dealt with so many different environments and cultures. So I think that's really it's really awesome.
That's right. I have to tell you, it might be it's not a book, because I'm not going to do that, but it is a conversation to have with seniors and find out what they've done, because what it does, it brings up so many memories. And I think that people are sitting at home, as you said, so smartly, and it's time to read books, and it's time maybe to write their autobiographies.
That's a great thing, and I would say this too. If and it's very hard. For example, my in-laws are in an assisted living facility right now, so we've not been able to see them for probably 2 months, and it's really difficult, really, really hard on them. I mean, harder on them than us, but it's hard on us too. And this is a great time to maybe take family history, or when they get out of this, to videotape some of this, because of the great lives of so many of our seniors. And again, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I think one of the great joys that I have in what I do for a living is I get to sit down and talk to so many older people who are at the end stage of their life, and I do talk to them. I really do take the time, because I am just fascinated with hearing their life stories and so many people went through so much, and endured, and how they may have been very successful in their lives, and how they did it, and what happened. And, so for me, it's something I always kind of take for that. A lot of my clients, really, without them probably knowing it, are almost like role models to me. But it's just fascinating. And I think for the younger generation, if you're a grandchild, and you have a grandparent, and you would really sit down and really talk to them about their lives and where they've lived, and their successes, their failures, their philosophies in life. I just think that's really partly what creating a legacy is all about.
Right. Put down your cell phone and get off the TV and off the internet, and talk with one another. I think that's happening more because of this virus. You said something before, when people are on walking, on A1A and all. This, as much as I'm so sad about people getting sick, passing away, and what's happening all over the country, and the world actually. The only good part, if there is a good part, is that people are readjusting their life. They're taking things that they never thought about before, that they just took for granted. And people, whether it's the schools now who are doing the Zoom education, or whether maybe it's couples who haven't had time to be together enough, and now, it has changed everybody, hasn't it?
Really has. It really makes you kind of examine what's important in life. And, you get down to the end of it and you realize you could do without a lot, right? I mean, we all probably don't need as much as we think we do. But, if you have family, if you have friends, you have a support network, just to know that, you're not in this alone. And I guess that's one thing that for anyone really struggling out there, you're not in this alone. There's help. There's resources. You have such a great network, ANITA, that it's probably one phone call to you would solve whatever problem someone's having, because you have the person who could probably assist and help them. So yeah, we really do. And by the way, I think all of us really, truly appreciate so much these frontline workers, the doctors and the nurses and the emergency room techs and the first responders, And in fact, I was thinking about it, and if any of the listeners are a first responder, or if they know a first responder, I will, for any first responder, I will be glad to provide a healthcare power of attorney or living will free of charge, because those people really should have those documents themselves.
Oh, Brian, that is so wonderful of you. My goodness, wow.
Well,
let's just say that again.
That's like
so
the least. The least that I could do, and I know I speak for everyone. I mean, I really speak for everyone of how much courage that these people have. And it's really hard. I mean, it's not just hard physically, but mentally. It must be really, really tough to have to try and help people and witness this horrific disease and what it can do to people.
Yes, that's so wonderful of you. And I hadn't heard that from anybody, but you are that kind of person. I knew that when I first met you, and after reading your book also. So anyone who just heard this, if you are a first responder, nurse, doctor, someone who hasn't had your document or done, so your power of attorney or your, any of the things that have to be done, why don't you call Brian? I'm going to give you his phone number now, because that's really important. The way you're going to get him is you're going to call him at 245-4700. Is that your right number? 561-245-4709. Sorry. Let's do that.
That's
again.
It. 561-245-4709,
right?
09. That's correct.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. So if you are not a first responder, and you haven't gotten your documents in order, you ought to do it. It makes you feel a lot better. I know that. And then you can even see he'll probably bring his book with him, because it's a fantastic book.
Free book.
It's a
free
book.
ANITA, honestly, any first responder, if they have their estate plans or whatever, if they have their living will or healthcare power of attorney in place, fine. But if they also would like a free copy, I'd be happy to give a free copy.
That's wonderful. Let's do this again. 561-245-4709. You can be assured when you meet Brian Mangines, it's MANGINES. When you meet him, that will be the highlight of your day, I can assure you. And I feel very privileged to know him. He always has a smile on his face. He's always helping people. He's really what the old-fashioned lawyer, I think, should be. They're not all like this, but that's how he is, and he has a fantastic staff, and I just want everyone to think about this book. In fact, I just opened the book. I have it in front of me. And, you were saying about looking at yourself and all. the first chapter's title is Who Are You? Well, who are you? I really want to know. And do you really know who you are? And maybe this is a time for you to reflect on all the things, who you've been, where you're going, but even how you can help people right now. If you're living in a condo, of course, you have a problem. You're not allowed. I know in my condo, we have to stay where we are. If we go out, you have to wear your mask. You have to be so careful. So, but you can get on the telephone and talk to people. You can see how they're doing, and that'll help you too. Do you talk to a lot of people now? Your family? I guess you do.
Yeah, I really do. Most of my brothers and sisters are over on the west coast of Florida, and they're all doing well, thank God. But one of my sisters, she's healthy but has a few health issues, and so it's really important that we keep an eye on her. And one of my other sisters is delivering food to her door. We really can't see each other, but we can talk to each other, and we do that a lot. I had another brother up in New York, actually Connecticut, my home state, and he knows several people who have lost their lives to this. So it's really it really brings it home. Yeah, it's really tough. It's really, really difficult because it's just almost unfathomable that you could be walking through life and something like this that, I know people have talked about in the past, but no one really could fathom just how devastating and how crippling that this has been for the entire world.
Yes. It's like, you exercise, you try to eat well, you try to do the things, and this comes along, and it just doesn't care who you are or anything about you. But you really have to watch yourself, and there are people who think they're so smart, they go out, they say, oh yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Well, it will matter, and dying from this is not pleasurable. So all you have to do is at least try to stay away from people, to wear your mask, to wear your gloves when you go places, to try to order in food. And, don't be so smart about, you think that you're above all this. I don't think so.
No, I'll tell you, anyone who is not by now taking this very seriously, there's something wrong with them. No offense to people out there, but, this is really, really scary stuff. And I know, we definitely need to reopen the economy at some point. I'm not smart enough to figure out how and when to do that. But hopefully we can start seeing the numbers decline and, kind of get back out there, because, this takes a real mental toll on people as well, and the financial impact. I mean, I know, I know the state of Florida is working very hard on getting this unemployment insurance checks to people, but, there's a lot of people who are entitled to unemployment and haven't gotten their money, and they need the money today. They need to buy food for their kids, single moms, so it's really, really, it's hard. It's disheartening, very, very difficult, but
that's
we'll
right.
Get through it.
That's true, and it's a lot of people, have been struggling just to take care of everything week by week, and now this is just making it impossible, and hopefully, I don't know. I know there are a lot of food banks, there are a lot of places now, and I'll tell you, after you're on, we're going to be talking to Kim Levito from the Volin Center, and they really, if you're a senior, and we'll be talking about that, they do provide food. If, you need to have food, they'll take care of that. So everyone is trying very hard, but there are a lot of people who don't even know if they're not 60 years old or 65. So it is very tough. Well, we just, I don't know what really to say about this. I know that they think they may have something that's going to help people who are very sick with it, but it's I think it's the frightening part about someone gets it, you can't even be with them. I mean, you heard about that they have to suffer alone.
That is so hard, to know that there's people literally dying alone. and to be a loved one, and not to be by the side of someone who's suffering from this or dying from this. Just heartbreaking, absolutely, heartbreaking. So it's just so really, like I said, unfathomable. But what you mentioned, Anita, you do see the spirit of good human nature out there, of people really coming together and trying to help those in need. And you'd sent something earlier. You're not only helping the person that you're helping yourself, because I can just know personally for me, and especially if you're feeling down or you're feeling isolated, you pick up the phone and you help somebody and lift their day, even if it's for a minute, even if it's for 5 minutes, you're going to feel better. I mean, I know for me, I always feel good after I've done good for somebody. So it's, I definitely would encourage.
Yeah.
Just help
That's
people
the way
a little
that
bit.
You are, Brian. You're like that.
Well,
you smile, and everyone just melts. You have this great smile, and you're such a wonderful guy. So let me do this again. We've been listening to Brian Mangines, and the way to reach him is 561-245-4709. And be sure, if you are a first responder or someone who's helping, that he will be glad to give you his book, Faith with Focus, which is a wonderful book. It's not huge, so you can get through it quickly, but every chapter is just delicious, and it's been one of the nicest books that I've had, and I have a lot of authors, but I love this, and I love him. He's just a terrific guy. And so, Brian, I want you to really take care of yourself. You're going to be fine, and I'm glad you're taking care of your family also.
Well, thank you, Anita, and I, want everyone to be safe, and really at a time like this, it's just, we just want to be there for people if they need us. That's really our main goal, more than ever.
And I know it, and I'm glad that you had your father for so long, and that was an amazing story. I didn't realize that 91, so that was great. And Brian, I guess we're out of time. We're out of time. So we'll get you back another time. Thank you very much always. Thanks, Brian. Take care.
Thank you, Anita. God bless. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.